Assalamualaikum. Welcome to Member Spotlight by Allied Muslim Chamber of Business. AMCOB is a membership-based social enterprise with a mission to create a thriving Muslim business community. It's the power of collective wisdom, continued learning, and thought leadership brought together for Muslims by Muslims. Our core belief is that business leaders thrive when they have access to a supportive community of peers who challenge and inspire each other. Today, we have with us our member, Muhi Khwaja. Mohi is a community connector, philanthropy geek, relationship builder, and a seasoned fundraiser. He's the co founder of American Muslim Community Foundation, AMCF. Welcome, Mohi.
Thank you so much for having me, Kashif. I appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure to have you. Would love to learn more about your journey, how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, I think back on my story of why, and looking back at my childhood, I grew up in a community in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan, where a lot of community founders were immigrants. They came in the 70s. They wanted to build a space for their families. And I was nurtured in that environment. And what I saw were civic leaders, volunteers, community engagement, and that inspired my growth. That my siblings and I were all involved in the youth group. We were at the masjid actively, in the Sunday school, and being community participants. So in my teenage years, I was actively planning events and community iftars for organizations like Islamic Relief annually. And that just transformed my leadership skills in college, where I became student body president and played rugby and was the president of Amnesty International and different social justice organizations. Mm-hmm. So this really shaped who I was as an individual. And there was an internship at the University of Michigan called the Development Summer Internship Program. And they showcased how the university fundraised billions of dollars from alumni, the medical school, the sports teams. And that really opened my eyes to starting this as a career. And I was fortunate enough to land a job at the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding as their first full-time development hire. And the rest is history from there.
All right. So tell us a little bit more about you're the co-founder of AMCF. What is AMCF? What services do you provide? What type of function does it perform, or the problems that it solves?
Yeah, so continuing my journey from ISPU, I worked at other small religious nonprofits where I was helping them fundraise. And I also worked at large organizations like the American Red Cross and the University of Michigan. So I got to see best practices in the industry, and I got to learn more about what are called donor advised funds and how they help families distribute their charitable giving. When I searched more about donor advised funds, I realized that there weren't any supporting the Muslim community with socially, ethically responsible investments, Sharia compliant, halal, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. But there were no DAFs on the market targeting the Muslim community. And when I saw the institutions fundraising year in, year out, only to have enough to, meet their own needs for operations, but not about long-term sustainability, I knew that our nonprofit institutions needed to have more sustainability. And a great way to do that, even from our Islamic tradition, is establishing awqaf, or endowments. So American Muslim Community Foundation answers those questions of how families can give their zakat and sadaqah more strategically, and how institutions can build that long-term sustainability through endowments.
Okay, so is it just for the individuals to contribute, or is it at the corporate level as well?
Yeah, a corporation can actually have a donor advised fund as well. So if you're filing your taxes separately from your business, it provides a really good opportunity for any of the charity that your business is doing, because you may owe zakat on your business holdings. And you may also want to be supporting different community programs that maybe are local to your business. a sponsorship opportunity or things like that can also be paid through a donor advised fund. So whether it's for a family, whether it's for a business, you can definitely benefit from having a donor advised fund.
Okay. Can you share a little bit more about the donor advised funds? Like, how does it actually work?
Absolutely. So DAFs are meant to be almost like a charitable savings account. Whatever money you put in has to go to a nonprofit organization, but you can determine the timetable. So maybe if you have a budget for this year and you have excess money, but next year you're unsure of your business income or your salary, you can put away funds now and distribute them in future years, and also invest that balance so that it continues to hopefully grow with the market. So there are a lot of benefits, and primarily you get one consolidated receipt. You put all the assets into the donor advised fund. You get the tax receipt from the DAF institution, in this case, American Muslim Community Foundation. So AMCF would be providing you with the receipt that you can give to your CPA to make your tax filing all that much easier.
Okay. So the donors, do they have control over which organizations to donate to, or is it AMCF that decides that they have 1 million sitting there and these are the organizations that they are going to go for?
Yeah, this is a great question and probably one of the most frequently that we get asked. So in a DAF, since it is a donor advised fund, legally the funds are with the DAF institution like AMCF. But what you get to do as the advisor of the account is direct where that charity goes. 99.9% of the time, you will be able to distribute to whatever charity that you want to give to. Alhamdulillah, since 2017, AMCF has distributed over $23 million. In Ramadan alone in 2025, we distributed over $1.5 million from the families that we work with. And the only cases in which that we have not sent to a charity that a family wanted to was that they haven't gotten their IRS approval yet. So maybe it's a newer nonprofit, they just applied for funding, but they haven't gotten their tax ID number authorization from the IRS. So we wait until they do, or we can give it to what's called a fiscal sponsor of that project so that they can still get funded.
Okay. And as the name says, American Muslim Community Foundation, is it just for America, or is it? Are you also working internationally?
So primarily for the donor advised funds, if there are families that are international, but they want to give to charities in the US, this could be a good way for them to partner with us. And for families that are in the US, if they want to give internationally, say there's the Palestine Red Crescent Society or any other organization that is registered overseas, they can still give to those entities, but there are extra fees and verification processes that we go through to ensure that everything is being done with IRS approval.
Okay. All right. Can you share some of the examples of how, like, whether individuals or at the institutional level, that you were able to streamline their giving and provide more benefit to those donors?
Absolutely. So, alhamdulillah, every day in Ramadan, we've seen transactions go through, distributions being requested to support the charities. What we've also been doing is asking those charity recipients to utilize those funds as a match so that they know that they're getting, say, $30,000 from our group of donors to a charity, and we're asking them to use that as a match. So not only is it benefiting the charity, but these families get to see their collective power together. Maybe one family is only giving 500 to the charity, another family is giving 10,000 to the charity, but the overall impact is that $30,000. So it's about showcasing the collective philanthropy potential for our Muslim community. So that's one example of many. And even throughout the year, we get to see so many beautiful gifts, transformative donations being made, supporting wonderful projects for providing food in the United States to communities that need it, to other international relief agencies, to, of course, mosques and schools across the country. But we're really excited about the potential that AMCF has to support families. And it doesn't need to be a super wealthy family. It can be an average family living in the US that just wants to streamline their donations and wants to take advantage of getting that one tax receipt and being able to invest their balance for future growth. So again, being more strategic about how you do your zakat, how you do your sadaqah in a more meaningful way.
Okay, so those are the examples where you where a family is giving to you and it's going to the charity. You also mentioned something about the endowment fund, and so how does that work?
Yeah, so AMCF manages about 26 endowments across the country. We've worked with the charities to help them manage their assets and savings. So, maybe a charity doesn't have the staff expertise or the board expertise to open up a brokerage account. They don't have the market knowledge to understand which investments to do or have the time, honestly, to actively manage a portfolio. Because yes, you can buy some stocks or mutual funds and let it sit and wait for 5 years to see what happens. But our chief investment officer is actively managing the account, making changes on a weekly, monthly basis to maximize your potential of investment with AMCF and partnering nonprofit organizations, endowments. So alhamdulillah, in 2024, we saw about a 21% gain on the return of investment. So we're looking forward to continuing that partnership and growth with our chief investment officer to better serve not only the nonprofit endowments, but also the DAFs as well.
Okay, how much of your when we look at AMCF, how much of your business is related to managing endowment and the other DAF?
Yeah, so we started our DAFs in 2017 and we started our endowments in 2018. So we've been working on the DAFs a little bit longer. So it is a majority of our business. We have about $8 million of assets under management overall. And the DAFs are a significant majority of that.
Okay, all right. Any message that you would like to give to any institution, charities that are out there, and also a separate message, maybe similar thing, but for the families that what they should look into when they are looking to work with AMCF?
Yeah, for a nonprofit organization, whether your charity is more than 10 years old or just started this year, every organization should have an endowment. Whether it's only $5,000 or $500,000, it's going to make a long-term impact, and it's better to get started sooner than later. And same thing with the families. If you want to be engaging your children or the next generation in your philanthropic priorities, AMCF helps with those conversations. We can open up DAFs in memory of a loved one who's passed away, so it can be a sadaqah jariyah, and also establish what your legacy is for your family. So every family should have a donor advised fund. They're low cost opportunities for you to, again, be more strategic with your charitable giving. And these are things that we're taught in our faith, in our Islamic tradition, to give of our wealth when we pass, up to 1/3 to charity. So these are things that donor advised funds can help make easier for your family planning.
Okay, all right. And you are, I believe you're operating throughout the US. So where are you exactly based?
Yeah, so the organization was founded in California while I was living there for 10 years. But I currently live in Tampa, Florida. The organization is remote nationally. And our team, we have over 10 staff members. Some are global, but majority are in the US. So as a virtual national nonprofit organization, again, we primarily focus on the United States, but we have had some international donors who still support AMCF, and we have had families in the US give to international charities as well.
All right, perfect. Any last minute thing that you would like to share about yourself from your personal perspective, as this would be shared with our members for them to know you. So anything at the personal level you would like to share?
Yeah, through and through a Michigander, I would say, being born and raised here. But I did live in San Francisco for 10 years, really loved the community there. My heart is definitely still in California, but currently I'm living in Tampa, Florida. On the personal side, just, love nature, love hiking, motorcycle riding. So if any of these interests are fellow AMCOB members, I'd be happy to chat about that. Photography, so many other interests that I have. I love to travel as well. So alhamdulillah, I've been able to get to about 40 countries, and I'm continuing to try to explore more. So would love to get any tips of travel countries, your favorite countries that you've been to, and just learn more and share notes.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Muhi, for being part of AMCOB and being in our membership. Looking forward to seeing AMCF grow. And inshallah, we will also be partnering up with AMCF to have our endowment fund and other things from AMCOB perspective.
Wonderful. That's really great to hear. And thank you again for the opportunity to share more.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here today. Assalamualaikum. Okay.